Hello, welcome again to the workshop of Wood Spun Round. This is Doug. It is so good to have you with me in the shop today. Found a little chunk of wood. I don't know exactly what it is other than it's spalted, and it was apparently a dead branch that the tree tried to grow around. Like maybe it was broken and trying to heal itself. I'm not sure. Anyway, thought it was intriguing. I've turned a piece or two like this before. And so just a little small bowl to highlight this strange little growth of this tree. All I'm doing here is starting to get it round. I'm using the 1/2 inch bowl gouge. It happens to be a Thompson bowl gouge with a fingernail grind. It works very, very well, stays sharp for a long time. That's just one of the tools that I use quite often. So anyway, like I said, just getting it rounded off here. You see lots of chips there because there's a lot of air that we're cutting through. And so I'm not getting wood from bottom to top. Pretty soon that'll change and we'll get better shavings. Decided to go ahead and start working on getting a tenon of some sort. Just a little small tenon. But what I'm seeing there is I've got some bark that's going into the tenon area, so I've got to get past that, which means I got to go higher up in the bowl to get some solid wood. And so that's what we're doing here, just going across the bottom with that bowl gouge, developing some solid wood that'll be a tenon. Quite a bit longer there. I'm just checking, make sure I'm still at the right size that I need to be. Looks like I am. Pretty close anyway. So we're going to get the skew out, straighten it up just a little bit just to make sure not only at size but at the right shape. That tenon, my jaws are slightly dovetailed, and so that's what I'm doing there, is putting just a slight dovetail so that it holds the jaws hold on to that tenon extremely well and won't let it just jump out. Then we can go back to shaping. I'm going to end up turning just a little bit of a foot here and then go into kind of a normal bowl curve. In fact, I'm going to actually turn it in at the very top, at the very end of this, just because that's kind of what the wood wanted to be, how the wood wanted to be turned. I pay attention to the wood and how it's acting, not just what I have in mind, but how the wood is acting, and that when I say when the wood is telling me how it wants to be turned, that's what I'm talking about. There are no voices. I don't hear wood speaking to me. Anyway, taking a last pass here. It's kind of hard to see, but there is the tenon and then there's the foot. There's just a small difference between the two sizes. The foot is ever so slightly larger than the tenon itself. Then just a nice kind of an open turn here, or an open curve, until I get to the very top, and there's some sharpness, some raggediness that I just have to turn off. And that's where I end up having a slightly turned in top. You can see there the damage to this limb before it was healed over, and never was completely healed over. And so I've got some dead wood there right on the top surface of this branch that I'm turning. Well, if you got it turned around in the chuck, I'm going to start off with my 1/2 inch bowl gouge like I normally do. I just had to get that live center out of the tailstock because that's the way I work. If it's in there, I'm going to hit my elbow on it every time. As I was saying, I wanted to start off here with the 1/2 inch bowl gouge. And I'm not sure why I started with that, just what I typically start with. But I'm going to change it over real quick here to a little different tool that you may or may not have seen me use in the past. But it's one that's extremely effective. That's not a hole there in the very center. That's just some really dark wood. No need to get in a big hurry here. Just taking a nice slow cut, getting some nice shavings. Changing over to my Easy Wood. This is the #1 hollower. Very, very good tool for hollowing, whether it's in a hollow form, a vase of some sort, or even like this with a bowl. You can hollow out the bowl very quickly. This tool has a small, round carbide cutter that does a really good job of taking out a lot of wood in a hurry. It gets kind of a bad rap because it is a form of scraper. But as you can see there, the shavings that are coming out are tremendous. And that cutter will cut like that for a long, long time before, when it gets dull, you loosen it, give it either a 90-degree turn or even a 180-degree turn if you want to, and go at it again. You got a lot more cutting to do before that complete cutter is dull and it has to be changed out. Just stopping to see where I'm at, checking my walls. There is a bit of a crack in there, and I'm just making sure it's not in a situation where it's going to let loose on me. But as you can see there, I was able to take that bottom out pretty well, just using my digital calipers there, making sure my sides are fairly even. There's one little lump there in the bottom. We're gonna hit that one more time with this #1 hollower. Then I'm gonna get the Easy Wood finishing tool. This is the full-size finisher. It's got a good bit larger cutter on it. I'm going to use it for a couple of reasons. One, I want that larger diameter so I can make a smoother pass through there. It'll help me feel where some of the high spots are, but it'll also take out some of the ridges that are there that I want to get rid of before I start to sand. Smoother that is from the tool, the less I have to sand, and that's always a good thing. All right, giving it one last look-see, using my digital calipers on it before we start sanding on it. All right, we're satisfied, and you see there I'm starting at 100 grit. Probably could have started with 150, but I like to start with a little heavier grit so that I can knock it out that much quicker. We've already worked all the way up off camera, up to 320. I'm not putting you through all that sanding. But every grit is very similar to the 320 here. We're going up and down the outside, going up and down the inside. Then I'll blow it out and double check it before I move on. We've gotten finished, and now we're applying some sanding sealer. I only sand a 320 on all of my work, and then I will add some sanding sealer. In this case, I'm actually putting 2 coats of sanding sealer on it. 2 purposes for that. One is to seal the wood. The other is to raise any grain that might need to be raised and taken off, because after this will come some Axe abrasive paste. Axe will take it from the 320 all the way up to 1,000 grit. And so I can do all that sanding with the paste, and there's no dust whatsoever, which is why I use it. There's the Axe abrasive paste getting ready to go on. And that reminds me, if you would like to try Axe, or if you need to stock up on Axe, maybe you've been using it and your supply is getting low, you can use the discount code DOUG15 at checkout, and that will get you 15% off. So go ahead and get some Axe. Both the abrasive paste and the carnauba wax come together in a kit for one low price, and I think you'll like it. I've enjoyed it ever since I started using it, and I'm a believer in it. And the paste, both the abrasive and the wax. Paste is on. We start off at about 250 or so, just working it in. As the abrasive feels like it's breaking down, I'll speed it up all the way up to about 1400 until my paper towel comes away clean. And then I go to the paste wax. This is the polishing restoring wax. Was good before, and then Tom started adding twice as much carnauba to it, and I like it that much more now. Gives a good shine, holds up a long time. And once it's cured, it's fairly well fingerprint proof. So get you some of this Axe abrasive paste and the wax. I think you'll like it the first time you try it. Started buffing here at about 1200 RPMs. Very light touch at first, and then gradually building up the pressure, just so it creates just a little bit of heat, not a whole lot, but just a little bit of heat that'll melt that wax into the wood, but it also helps set the wax so that you have that nice hard finish. Reversing it again, I've just got a little jam chuck on there with some non-slip pad. Bring my tailstock up. And I should have changed my camera angle. I don't know why I didn't, but you'll be able to see on that right side of the live center what is taking place as I cut through, just taking the tenon off. Start off with my 1/2-inch bowl gouge and take the bulk of it off. Then I'm going to get my mini finisher and work on it, just taking it, just that much finer, getting it that much cleaner, and then we'll do some more work on it here in just a moment. There's that finishing tool. Again, it's a round carbide bit. Does a real nice job of just smoothing it off, giving me a little concave surface there. Doing just a little bit of sanding. It's really quick. That should be the 320 there. Nope, this is the 320. I'm going to grab my little 1/4-inch skew, and I'm going to make my little lines that I do on the bottoms of all my pieces. This gives me some lines to put my marks in, my name, the date, and the species of wood. Using the mini detailer here to take the nub down just a little further. Or maybe that's the 3/8 detail gouge, I guess. Just taking the very bottom edge of the bottom side of the nub down smaller so that we can take it off here in just a moment. I'll turn that bevel around, put it against the bottom of the bowl, the edge right against the nub, and put my left hand on the stop button. As soon as that nub goes, I hit the button, and it works just as slick as that. Not much left there to sand. There, I've just put my sanding mandrel in the lathe, running at about 500. It doesn't take much. I put 150 grit sandpaper on there just to knock that nub off. Did my engraving put a little wax on it, and it's done. Nice little bowl. Well, thanks for joining me in the shop today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, if you'd hit the like and the subscribe button. If you'd like to help the channel out, go ahead and share this out with all your friends on your social media pages. I'd appreciate it so much. Now, this is Doug at Wood Spun Round. Until we get to meet in the shop again, I hope you're able to spin them round.